Welcome to the Stranger Truth, where we dive into the unsolved mysteries of the world. It started with a sound, strange high-pitched noise, like the whine of metal on glass, piercing the quiet Havana night. Then came the symptoms: dizziness, nausea, and headaches, so severe they forced U.S. Embassy staff to their knees. Over the next months, dozens would report similar attack. It's not just in Cuba, but in China, Vietnam, and even steps away from the White House. This is the story of Havana Syndrome, a modern mystery at the intersection of medicine, espionage, and geopolitics. A story that has haunted diplomats, baffled scientists, and triggered whispers of a chilling possibility that a foreign adversary has developed a new class of weapon. And now, after years of speculation, new evidence points to an unlikely culprit: Russia's shadowy military intelligence. Could this be the first confirmed use of a silent, invisible weapon designed to incapacitate without firing a single shot? Officially termed anomalous health incidents, Havana Syndrome refers to a cluster of symptoms, first reported by U.S. and Canadian personnel in Cuba in late 2016. Victims describe a sudden onset of intense pressure in their heads, accompanied by strange, high-pitched noises, sometimes described as metallic grinding or a constant buzzing hum. They report vertigo, tinnitus, loss of balance, cognitive difficulties, and, in some cases, vision problems. A few even experience nosebleeds and loss of consciousness. Medical examinations revealed what some doctors called concussion-like symptoms. Though patients had suffered no physical blows, brain imaging showed changes in white matter, tiny anomalies normally seen in patients with traumatic brain injuries. What's most alarming is the consistency of the stories. Victims often describe being alone in their hotel rooms or apartments when the symptoms began, as if they were being targeted in isolation. The attacks seemed designed for stealth: no explosions, no smoke, no traces left behind, except the lingering effects on the human body. At first, the incidents seemed confined to Cuba, but the pattern quickly spread. In 2018, U.S. consulate staff in Guangzhou, China, began reporting similar symptoms. In some cases, entire families fell ill, including children. One diplomat described the experience as like standing next to an invisible microwave. Then, in 2021, Vice President Kamala Harris's visit to Hanoi was delayed after reports of an incident at the U.S. Embassy there. Around the same time, cases surfaced in Tbilisi, Georgia, and Vienna, Austria, both hubs of intelligence activity. Even U.S. soil wasn't immune. In 2019 and 2020, government officials in Washington, D.C. reported experiencing waves of pressure and disorientation near their homes. One National Security Council staffer collapsed on the ellipse, just steps away from the White House. Patterns began to emerge. Many victims worked in counterintelligence or diplomatic security, often at posts where they interacted with or monitored Russian operatives. Was this a coincidence or part of a deliberate campaign? A joint investigation by The Insider, 60 Minutes, and Der Spiegel points to a possible culprit: Russia's GRU Unit 29,155. This elite group within Russian military intelligence is known for sabotage and assassination operations across Europe. Western intelligence has linked it to the 2018 poisoning of Sergei Skripal in the UK, in a series of destabilization efforts in Eastern Europe. Now, there is evidence placing members of Unit 29155 in multiple cities where Havana Syndrome cases have been reported. Travel records and phone metadata show operatives overlapping in time and space with some of the victims. Russian military award records reveal commendations for research into non-lethal acoustic weapons. These findings suggest Moscow may have developed a portable, directed energy device, possibly using microwaves that could damage human tissue or disrupt neural activity at a distance. The concept isn't new. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union experimented with microwave and sonic weapons for crowd control and espionage. U.S. scientists later confirmed that pulsed microwave energy could create auditory sensations, the so-called Frey effect. But Havana Syndrome suggests something more advanced: a weaponized system capable of inflicting neurological damage. Moscow has denied any involvement, but to intelligence insiders, the pattern of attacks, the secrecy, and the circumstantial evidence point to a chilling possibility: a deliberate campaign to weaken U.S. diplomatic and intelligence networks. Despite these alarming reports, U.S. intelligence agencies remain divided. In 2023, consensus assessment by 7 agencies concluded it was very unlikely that a foreign adversary was behind Havana Syndrome. They suggested the symptoms could be explained by environmental factors, pre-existing conditions, or even psychological responses. But 2 agencies, believed to include the NSA, disagreed. They argued there was a significant chance that foreign actors were involved, citing classified intelligence and patterns of activity consistent with surveillance and harassment campaigns. This split left victims caught in a bureaucratic limbo. Over 1,000 U.S. personnel have reported symptoms, but many feel abandoned, denied adequate medical care, and left to battle skepticism from their own government. For some, the lack of answers has compounded the trauma. As one former CIA officer put it, "You expect risks in the field, but you don't expect your own country to doubt you when you're attacked." If Havana Syndrome is the result of a covert Russian program, the implications are staggering. This would represent a new era of warfare, one where the brain itself becomes the battlefield. A device capable of disabling targets invisibly would redefine notions of security, making anyone in its path a potential victim. For now, Congress has allocated funds for victims' treatment, and investigations continue. But the ultimate question remains: is Havana Syndrome a Cold War relic reborn, or something far more dangerous? Thank you for watching another episode of The Stranger Truth. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe to our channel.